Goodness.
Perfect. Yay! This is definitely making me happier. All of this is what we've been waiting on. Well guys, I think it's safe to say that I officially know what it's like to be a farmer. So much respect for people who grow food. Here's Peach. The storm that came through yesterday really did a number on the garden, you guys. And the garden was at its peak. It was thriving. Now it just looks like a complete wreck. We stayed up past dark tying up some corn and peppers and everything that we could, but you know, I think I'm just gonna have to face reality that our harvest is gonna be a lot smaller than I was hoping. We're just gonna make the best of what we have and be grateful and use every bit of what we have. This is the reality of trying to grow your own food. You can't control the weather. Well, at least we can't. All right, so let's head into the garden and see what we can salvage and harvest today. Here he comes! The star of the show, Mr. Peach. Yes! All of these marigold stems were broken off from several plants in there that were some of my favorite plants in the whole garden. They were like marigold bushes, and I'm trying to revive them in here, and then Andy and I are gonna find somewhere to try to plant them, see if they might bounce back to life. You ready to head in?
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's go. Let's go get some food.
Okay. All right, we're gonna start with tomatoes. We've been getting a couple tomatoes, but you guys, we've been trying to let what's on here ripen up so that we could do a big harvest and hopefully preserve some. That's a gorgeous Amish paste tomato, but it is split, which is okay. Getting to this because of all the chicken madness, but I didn't know that they would be this big. If these plants are gonna still be alive to ripen up all of these green tomatoes that we still have. You guys can see how much of a jungly, tangled mess this is, and the storm did not help. So these Amish paste tomatoes are really good for tomato sauce, obviously tomato paste.
They've got a distinct look to them.
Yeah, they do. That's why I've got my overalls on, because I knew I would have to be getting down here. That
Goodness.
looks perfect. Yay! There is some light. So all the ones I've been picking so far have been really red. I'm gonna go ahead and pick these that are almost all the way red and just let them finish ripening inside. That way we can get some of the weight off of these plants since they are kind of struggling right now. Look at that giant ugly tomato. Woo!
This is quite the contrast from this time yesterday.
So this side of this row is just about finished with all the super ripe or almost ripe tomatoes. As you can see, there are still a ton of them on there. Look at this. What the heck is that little dangle? Look at that little thing.
It's the angle of the dangle.
Then we have a whole nother 2 rows of plants.
So y'all can see right here from that storm yesterday, all of these were standing upright, and this is our main walking path here. Yeah. And all of these snapped off, and they've got massive
see where they broke.
tomatoes on there.
Yeah. Look at those. These are the Cherokee purples. Gorgeous.
Those won't make it through the day.
No. Oh my gosh. All right, so here's a huge cluster of cherries. Well, honestly, I wouldn't even consider these cherries. These are almost like those little Romas on the vine, which are so delicious.
It's pretty sweet. You could just clip the whole thing.
Yeah. And then I've been so excited. Never grown.
Look how pretty.
Woo! Look at that. Yellow beefsteak tomato, you guys. We are gonna try this for the first time, but it is beautiful.
That's pretty.
Your straw little nest worked great, so they didn't rot or anything being on the ground. So we're out here trying to get the tomatoes, you guys, and a huge gust of at least 45 miles an hour just blew through the garden again. Of course, the other way. This is some crazy weather.
It is some crazy weather. All right, y'all, so come over here. So our plan was to try to go through here and get the tomatoes that are ripe, but I think the best thing we can do is try to stand these back up so we can actually see what we're doing. They're all just laying on top of each other. So we're gonna go get some paracord and make a couple of wraps around these T-poles and
Yeah. See if
the
that
best
helps.
option.
Yeah, because we can't even walk down our path anymore or anything, see anything, so.
Like it's literally flat
Yeah.
on the top now.
These are gorgeous, and it's kind of helping with the current state of the garden when you still get to see this beautiful harvest come out of a terrible situation. Hopefully our plants will survive so that we can have 2 or 3 more harvests like this, because we're gonna need it. We're gonna try to preserve as much food as possible. So our peppers, half of them are ready right now, our Sargentos and our banana peppers. So this is what we're looking for right here with the Sargentos. One of our plants kicked the bucket here, and then a whole other plant had a bunch of peppers fly off of them last night. And Andy just made a good point that us harvesting a lot of these peppers off of there is going to help with the weight when the wind blows. But we staked these up last night and tied these up. They were completely laying flat. But if they can bounce back, we've got tons more blooms all over these plants.
Sargentos, they're really, really pretty peppers. Oh, what are these?
These are the green, well, no, they're like sweet goddess peppers, but it's just
What
a
is that?
fancy name for a banana pepper. We've been waiting.
Goodness.
Like, it's like having to do a jigsaw to get them out of there. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That's 12 inches long. Numbers.
Cucumbers are next.
Cucumbers are next. Look at these, you guys. I cannot believe that. Whoa. Can you imagine some pickled banana peppers on a chicken fillet from our chicken?
I know. I still have no appetite for chickens.
I know, me either. This is definitely making me happier. All right, cucumbers. Woo! Yay. Last year, we let our cucumber plants go out of control, and then our cucumbers got like this big and they were no good. So I'm really, really proud of us for staying on top of it this year and harvesting them when they're this perfect size. This one's getting pretty big, but it's still all green mostly. There's got to be more ways to use your cucumbers and preserve them, so let us know in the comments.
Yes, please give us some ideas. It's a nice little first haul.
Nice little first haul for the cucumbers, and these haven't even been out here that long. But imagine that. Squash bug. We need another basket, but you guys, we've got some green beans that are ready. These are, I can't even remember what I planted. Oh, Vortex beans. And they get about 12 inches long, which I think they're about there. We've got all these on this side too. We don't have a ton of beans yet, but we're gonna go ahead and harvest what's here so that it will encourage them to keep producing. And these really are like at their peak. These are gorgeous.
Yeah, those look perfect.
And I picked these, this variety. Never grown these before, but I like how you can cut them and probably get like 4 pieces of green beans for canned green beans. So I think those are gonna be great. We better harvest what we can before it gets ripped.
Yeah.
Ripped out of the ground. We just ate one raw, and you guys, it's actually really good. It's sweet. We've been dying for some greens and some vegetables since you can't really eat salad or vegetables in the grocery store right now. So we're really excited about this. Here's our little green bean haul for now. We're gonna need a lot more.
Yep, that's gonna be dinner for tonight.
What, this?
The green beans.
All right, let's go.
Babe, let's see your haul.
Okay guys, so here's our official first garden haul with different varieties. So far we have had mishap with our onions, but we did get some, and I still have to preserve those. And then we've harvested our yellow Yukon Gold potatoes, but other than that, all of this is what we've been waiting on. Tomatoes, cucumbers, green beans, and peppers. There's still a lot to come, fingers crossed, as long as the good Lord allows us to harvest what's left out there and no more tornadoes or anything come and hit the garden. I'm happy about this harvest, but as you guys know, just like with hunting, I feel like this year with us trying to preserve and grow our own food, I'm realizing now that the actual work comes after you harvest, where you have to do the preservation and figure out what to do with it all to make it last throughout the upcoming year. We're gonna need a lot more for that to happen, but this is our first year and we're learning, so I'm happy with what we're getting so far.
Hear that lonesome engine sigh as the desert train rolls by. Try to make Lone Pine by moaning. Miles of highway in the sand, kicking dust in cowboy riding all the day.
All of these over here still need to ripen up a little bit, so I'm gonna just hold off on those. And then these heirlooms right here, these are great and ready to be cored. And then these are the Amish paste tomatoes here. Some of them are split, as you can see, but we're just gonna cut that right off. And then we've also got some little Roma tomatoes and some Cherokee purple cherry tomatoes. This pile over here is for us to enjoy and get our fill of fresh tomatoes while the getting is good. This right here is all that we're really working with right now. These two are for the chickies. What do you got going on?
This tedious task here.
Peeling onions.
But it seems like if you just grab it up here and then pull it down,
You lose a lot?
it peels better.
Oh. This was our onion harvest that you guys, if you missed that video, could go watch it. We didn't get as many onions as we were hoping for, but we've got a mix of the red and the yellow Pattersons in there. Over on my little station over here is I'm just coring, taking out the little core of the tomato, and I'm gonna be putting them in one of these little pans. You could use a cookie sheet. I kind of feel like this might work better to help the Amish paste tomatoes stand upright because they really don't want to sit upright. And then these will just go straight into the freezer. If you do want to preserve a lot of stuff using the freezer, it is definitely a lot easier, but you're depending on having electricity, freezer space.
Which we found out the hard way.
Yeah.
It's not if it goes out, it's when.
Yeah, and you've got to be prepared. So the goal this year is to try to preserve as much food as possible pantry shelf stable instead of just everything frozen. These will be turned into pasta sauce, salsas, and stuff like that for easy meals and long-term storage. I want to be transparent that we're trying our best with everything, whether it's gardening, raising meat chickens, all of this stuff we're learning. So there's plenty of other channels that you guys could watch to learn tutorial wise how to, but we appreciate you guys watching us just kind of following along our journey, not necessarily to learn something. Maybe you can learn from our mistakes and as we learn.
I love song.
So this is a basket of tomatoes that we're just gonna save for us to eat right now fresh, because what is the point in growing all of this if we don't get to enjoy it before we preserve it? And then these right here, this whole basket, they're not quite ripe yet, so I'm gonna give them just a few more days to ripen up, and then I'm gonna do the same process with these. That's okay. You can just cut that off.
Just like that.
All right, now into the kitchen to do some dicing and freezing. Hopefully this is all worth it. These are some gorgeous onions. I don't know why I was underestimating the potency before I started cutting, but they are making me cry like crazy. My nose is running. These are some potent yellow onions. All right, you guys, after crying for about 20 minutes, I got all of the yellow onions chopped up. I just did a rough chop, and some of the ones that were more like a pearl onion size, I just kept them whole, or I just cut them in half. So those will be really good for like roasting and everything like that. But yeah, we're gonna freeze this for at least overnight, and then we'll come back and bag them up into little recipe sized vacuum sealed packs. Some room in this freezer. It's a crazy time of year. Yellow onions are officially almost done. Obviously I still have the red onions to preserve, but I'm gonna take a little break. And yeah, I just want to say that I'm really thankful and grateful that even though we didn't get the onion harvest that I was hoping for, to have a bunch of beautiful big jumbo storage onions, we're making the most of what we got. And I'm actually pretty surprised with how much we were able to harvest there, and I'm already thinking of so many meals that I can use them in, and it's gonna make my life a lot easier. I'm not gonna have to chop any onions for a while. So, win.
Not much writing love songs. Hell, I never even tried. With 1,000 things gone wrong, here's one thing that is right. I run back to you, and you come back to me again. Wildfires burning, and they're packing up for war. Seems like nobody's learning from the ones who came before. But I run back to you, and you come back to me again. Up before the sunrise on another working day.
It is pretty crazy to believe that just a few days ago, Andy and I thought that we were not gonna harvest anything from the garden. And it is amazing the resilience of these plants. We did tie up a bunch of stuff and it has bounced back. That was a real fear that we had. And we went through the garden and worked into the night, staking the corn up, the peppers, and everything is coming back to life. It's honestly amazing to see the resilience of nature. I'd say 80% of the corn is standing back up, and you guys, we did tie it, but a lot of it just came back up on its own. This is just the kind of person that I am, but I think that there's a deeper message there with seeing the corn and all of the plants just laying flat on the ground in the garden. Mother Nature and honestly our faith in God is so directly tied together. It's a miraculous and a beautiful thing to see how things can have new life again after a disaster or a terrible storm. I think you guys get what I'm saying, but I'm not the best at explaining it. Our biggest harvest is definitely still to come. Let's go into the kitchen so you guys can see what we still have left to preserve. We're already starting to be able to save some stuff for meals for over the winter, and I just think it's really cool. Again, this is our first year trying to grow as much food and be self-sufficient as much as possible with the chickens, our deer meat that we've always done, and now growing our own food. But this whole thing is a learning experience, and yeah, I feel like for me, the fun part is planning and planting the stuff and seeing it grow. And I do get pretty overwhelmed with the preservation part of it, just because I don't have a lot of experience with it. Kitchen is kind of a mess right now because I've got some plants right here that I'm trying to save, some pepper plants and some marigolds. I've also got over here this whole bowl of cucumbers still. All of these Sargento peppers, banana peppers. We're definitely going to be doing some pickled sandwich style, deli style banana peppers. And then for these, I want to roast them and then slice them up and freeze them. And then obviously cucumbers, we're going to be doing some pickles. We've also got these tomatoes left just to snack on. Showed you guys how I was saving these to let ripen a little bit more, and they are perfect and ready, so I've got to do that today as well. So yeah, that's just something about growing your own food or homesteading that I didn't really realize, was that to fill your pantry and your freezer, it's an extended process. It's not like everything comes at once, and you know, once you plant the seeds and once you see everything growing, you're done. Because the real work actually begins when you have to start preserving your food, and it all comes in waves. So trying to navigate how to make it, like how to be able to get the most harvest preserved without spending days and days and days on end, that's been kind of the learning curve for me, especially with not knowing. I mean, I don't know a ton about canning or pressure canning, but I just know that I do not want to freeze everything, because I don't want to rely on having everything in the freezer, because we have had a nightmare with freezers before. So let me just show you though what I do have in the freezer right now. Just from the little onion harvest that we had, I chopped up all the yellow onions and we froze them into these individual packs, so I won't have to be chopping onions for a very long time for meals for over the winter, which I think is amazing. We've got all of our tomato bags filling up. I'm just separating them into like the different varieties. So these are the Amish paste. We still have a lot more over there that I gotta do today. And these were the Romas and the cherries, and these are what I call ugly tomatoes, the heirlooms. But so I'm stockpiling them, and these bags will be full in no time, hopefully multiple bags of each variety, and then I can have a plan for all the different stuff that I want to can and preserve. But I just think this is the coolest thing ever, because it gives you time. And it makes it so that when you do can, you're not doing it like 10 different times. You can can when you have enough, and then hopefully have a little canning party or something. And these skins on the tomatoes will just come right off after they're thawed. So it kind of skips the whole blanching or boiling process. The whole thing has just been a learning experience for us. And we're just grateful for what we are getting, and it still feels good to be able to harvest our own food, preserve it, and there's just like having that security of, number one, knowing where our food comes from, but number two, having it and supplying it ourselves is a really good feeling.
Outside.
So, long story short is that we are grateful for what we're harvesting, even if it is smaller on some scale, and it's teaching us to make the most of what we have, which is something that pertains to life in general.
Yeah, and I got a new appreciation for where my food comes from. We're super thankful for what we've gotten to harvest so far.
Mm-hmm.
I know I am.
On another note, y'all let us know what you want to see down in the comments. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna say some adventures and some fishing, and trust me, we are dying as well. I don't think I've been fishing all year, so very sad, but that's coming soon. It has to, or else we're just gonna lose our minds. Beyond that, what else do you guys want to see us do over here on the homestead? You know, I could make videos where we're showing how we're gonna preserve all of this food, but y'all just let us know what you want to see. Obviously, we have hunting season coming up very soon, and a lot of fun winter fall projects that are more outdoor related. But right now it is like full focus on garden and food preservation. So I know it can get like repetitive or boring, especially since there's so many other channels that you can watch to learn how to do this stuff, but we are kind of showing you us learning how, like beginner learning how to do this. So it's just a different perspective, but I just thought I would ask what you guys would want to see us do over here on the homestead. Also, if you guys haven't checked out our farmhouse kitchen opening day seasoning, you need to go get yourself some. It is delicious on any cut of meat, veggies. A lot of people say they put it on eggs. It is a great all-purpose blend, and we absolutely poured our heart and soul into this blend. It's all natural, clean ingredients. We wanted to create a seasoning that reminded us of the farm and all of the traditions that come along with being here, specifically with hunting and that magical feeling of opening day. We tried to put that feeling into this bottle, and we hope you guys love it. So check it out. We'll leave the link down below in the description. Love you guys. We'll see you in the next one.